All right, so you're going to listen to me yammer for a little bit. Little backstory on this. I've got a old Browning Auto 5 fixed choke 1970s production Belgian barrel, and I have a Stevens 311 side-by-side 20 gauge from, I think it's the 1970s. I'd have to look at my paperwork to see exactly when it was built. But in any event, neither one of these shotguns were quote-unquote designed nor built around when steel shot was becoming more prevalent for waterfowl, and now in California, non-toxic has to be used for everything you hunt in the field, and that includes carrying your sidearm in the field to defend yourself. Fish and Game really doesn't want you using your sidearm in case you come, you shoot your deer and your deer's not completely dead, and you'd rather just put the 1911 or whatever pistol you're carrying up against the deer's head and pull the trigger. Well, technically, if that bullet is a lead cord, copper jacketed, or a semi-wad cutter, lead cast, whatever, that's violation of Fish and Game law in the state of California. Anyway, so the question comes down to, and I started really investigating this because I used to hunt a lot of pheasant and quail back in the day, and I have subsequently stopped due to just life changes and everything else. But the real reason was in 2019, everything went to lead-free in California. So you gotta have non-toxic and certified non-toxic ammo, and we're gonna talk about the what certified means too. So we're gonna talk about that one. But anyway, the big controversy is because if you Google, can I use steel shot in my old shotgun, you're going to get opinions that are loosely or somewhat more so tied to somewhat factual information, but a lot of it's conjecture. A lot of it's someone's best guess, a good experience, things of that nature, but nothing really definitive. So here's the thing. I'm going to give you my research, and I'm going to show you the documentation that I got so that it's not my opinion. This is my research and what I've found, and it's my interpretation of what the criteria is to use steel shot in older shotguns. So if you don't want it's too long to read, too long to listen to, you don't want to hear me yammer, I'll cut to the chase. Number one, SAAMI specs for shotgun ammunition in the United States for all cartridges that are not these new, like a 12 gauge 3.5 Magnum, your standard conventional stuff. 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 16 gauge, 28 and 410. None of those pressures are above 12,500 psi for 20 gauge, 28 gauge, and 410, and none of those pressures are above 11,500 psi for 12 gauge, and that's 2 3/4, 3 inch, and that doesn't matter for lead or non-lead, because SAAMI doesn't differentiate between steel, bismuth, heavy shot, tungsten. They don't care. All they want to know is, does your shotgun shell exceed this PSI? That's it. The reason why I'm talking about that PSI is because the vast majority of this research that you're going to find on whether or not you can use non-toxic shot, steel shot in particular, in these shotguns, is going to come from England, because England has recently, and I think it was about the same time that California went lead-free, England went lead-free as well. And they're going to go lead-free for their trap and skeet as well. They're going to completely go no lead in any cartridge for any shotgun for any use, period. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my interpretation of what I've been seeing. I don't live in England, obviously. You know, I got an accent that sounds like I'm going to date my cousin or something like that, so... But the vast majority of the research you're going to find is coming out of England. And the reason why I say that, and I'll keep this short, is that England has 3 pressure levels that you can work with your steel shot in these proofed barrels, because they have proof houses, proof barrels that they reference. So they have what's called standard proof, they have superior proof, and then they have high performance superior proof steel. And I may have the nomenclature incorrect, but it's high performance proof. And it's a fleur-de-lis symbol stamped on the action. Most of your shotguns bought out of England or English built, imported in the United States, are going to have that fleur-de-lis on there as a high performance. Now, what that is it's your standard pressure, and I'm going to show you the conversions. I've got all the data here, so if you want to get through this, but in just in short, your standard nitro proof, smokeless powder proof pressure is a maximum test pressure, not maximum working pressure, maximum test pressure of 850 bar. And if you take the bar and you multiply that times 14.5, you'll get PSI. So there's your simple calculation if you want to do that. Anyway, their working pressure for that is 650 bar, if I'm correct on that one. The superior proof is 1200 bar, and I don't remember off the top of my head what the working pressure is, but it's basically 30% less. It's like 900 and something. It's like 900 and something, 950 bar working pressure, and then they've got a maximum in there. So the thing is, you say all that, and they have the 3 different levels of pressure for their cartridges, and you have to look at the box of cartridges when you buy them in England to ensure that your gun is not going to come apart or get damaged as you shoot these cartridges. And they do have a lot of old guns with Damascus barrels and twist barrels and things of that nature. So there's a huge amount of these old guns over there. Back to the point of the matter is, in the United States, we have 1 pressure level. It's 11,500 pounds for a 12 gauge and a 16 gauge. It's 12,500 pounds for a 20, 28, and 410. That is 793 bar for the 12 gauge, and the 20 gauge, I believe it is a little higher. It's about 800 and something. I can't remember what it is. We'll get to that. I've got a PDF document I'm going to bring up on the screen. And I'll scroll down and show you. So here's the 850 for their standard proof. Here's their superior proof, 1200 bar. Notice there is nothing listed here on gauge. Doesn't say. They don't care. All they want to know is, will the gun handle, regardless of bore or gauge bore, will it handle the pressure? And this is a 1989 London Proof, 850 bar. 1989 Nitro Proof. I don't know what proof house that is. So anyway, 1200 bar. And then here, this is superior proof fleur-de-lis that has become universal on our firearms that are steel high performance proofed. So back to the U.S. stuff, and I will now go away, and let's get this out of the way. All right, so this is my documentation here. So steel shotgun shell load, SAAMI pressures. SAAMI pressures slightly higher than CAP standard proof. This is what we got to deal with. So SAAMI maximum average pressure is 11,500 or 793 bar for all 12 gauge shells, lead or non-lead, 3-inch or less. SAAMI maximum average 12,000 PSI. It's actually 12,500 PSI. I just looked at the documentation there. No, that's here we go. So you come to the SAAMI website, and then you go SAAMI standards, and then you look at shot shell ammunition for the use of commercial manufacturers, and then you look at this one here, and you can scroll on through, and you can find what you're looking for. You want 12 gauge smoothbore cartridge. This is chamber drawings. We don't want chamber drawings. We want the proof, standard velocity and pressure test. So we want that. So let's see. Oh, bloody hell. Come on. There we go. Where's the slider? There we go. So what I want to see is right here, because this says velocity and pressure data transducer. This is a 12 gauge. This is maximum average pressure, PSI times 100. So this is going to be 11,500 PSI. And look at this. It says for 7/8 load, there's your velocities. For a 1 ounce load, there's your velocities. 1 1/8 ounce, 1 1/4. They don't differentiate. They're not printing up individual pressures for all these various velocities. They just want to make sure that you're not exceeding this right there. That's it. That's all they care about. And then it goes into 3-inch. All the same, all the way up to 2 ounce at 1,175 feet a second. They just want to make sure that it doesn't exceed this. This is what the ammunition manufacturers are required by regulation to meet. And if they don't do this and somebody gets hurt, they're going to get their butt sued off. So they're very, very compelled to meet these SAAMI standards, because when they go to court because a gun blew up on someone, if they can't say definitively that their ammunition meets a SAAMI specification, they're left wide open for all kinds of lawsuits. The whole point of this is, if we go back, close this, if we go back to the standard proof, which is the lowest proof level that England allows to be shot in any nitro-proofed firearm, any firearm designed to shoot smokeless powder, okay, they want 850 bar or less, And their standard steel nitro proof, this is the English version from England, okay, 12 gauge loads are not to exceed 10,733 psi, 740 bar for a 70 millimeter, 2 3/4 inch long chambers at 1,400 feet per second. They give this stuff, I found this years ago and I can't remember where the heck I found it, but anyway, with a 1 ounce load or 1,250 feet per second with a 1 1/8 ounce load. 740 bar, or you look at the American standard of what we run at maximum, we're at 793 bar. Now, I can tell you, you're talking 53 bar. That's right at 750 psi. And if you go back and you look at the SAAMI spec, they don't even really care what the hundreds of psi is. They kind of round that stuff off when they do their testing. So, in any American shotgun, whether it's rated for steel or not, so long as it was designed to shoot smokeless powder, it'll handle any American load without consequence, with 3 caveats. Caveat number 1 is the gun in sound working condition? Is it safe to shoot, and has it been looked at by a qualified gunsmith? I say qualified gunsmith, not a certified, you know, not a gunsmith, but a qualified gunsmith, a guy that knows what the frick he's looking at and doing, because we've got these gun hacks out there that don't know what the hell they're doing, and they call themselves gunsmiths, and they're not. That's a whole other rant. But anyway, a qualified person to deem that the gun is safe, okay? Second, was it designed to shoot smokeless propellant? That's going to be any American shotgun made after the 1900s. I'm going to even go back and say it's any shotgun from, say, well, not any shotgun, but most shotguns made after the 1890s, because that's when smokeless powder in rifles and pistols became very prevalent. But we're not even talking about that. So, you know, I would use the CIP cutoff of 1954. CIP doesn't recognize any proof marks prior to 1954 because there just was such haphazard control over what people were doing. Anyway, and the third caveat is, are you using a shotgun that is choked, modified choke, half choke, or less? That's the key. If you're using a shotgun that is safe to use, is designed for using smokeless powder, and is half choked or less, you can shoot almost any steel shot out of that firearm, period, because none of our loads really exceed the British standard of standard load, standard steel, standard proof, nitro proof. There's nothing special about it. Now, my Belgian made Auto 5, it has a superior proof steel barrel, so it means it's a little stronger and not quite as soft. So the other caveat to that is, and you'll read in here, we'll go over it, is they recommend shot size for an American shot size no larger than a number 5 shot, which is a British number 4. It's right around 1/8 of an inch in diameter, or smaller. You're probably going to want to run a number 6 shot for these things, because it gives you the best balance of number of pellets and diameter so that you can retain velocity on your target. And then for all the people out there getting nervous, of, oh, I got to change choke and I got to do this and do that. I hand reamed the barrel on my Auto 5 from a full to a modified. I'm going to run steel out of that gun, and I'm going to go bird hunting here next year. But regardless, what you need to understand is that steel does not react through a choke the same way that lead does. A full choke for steel is considered a modified choke. So you have modified, improved cylinder, and cylinder. Those are basically like full, improved, modified when you're talking about lead. So you're still within that really tight patterning of your spread of your shotgun. You're still in that. It's just that now you're using a more open choke, which is better for steel, because steel doesn't disperse like lead does. So it's one thing to keep in mind. You gotta go out and test this stuff. You gotta go out and test this stuff to make sure that everything's patterning properly. So I went out and I shot my Auto 5 at 40 yards at a 20 by 40 silhouette target. It's basically all I had. Didn't have a proper patterning target, but I basically got a slightly low 60-40 pattern. It was 60% of the shot was to the lower end of center, and 40% was about to the top above it, and it was dead on point of impact, point aim, point of impact. So, don't be making assumptions and trying to think about, I've got to I'm gonna go to a more open choke and I'm not gonna be able to hit those distant birds. Well, the steel shot doesn't work that way. So, but anyway, back to all this. So the key here and the point that I'm trying to get to without getting off on all these tangents is, all this BS you're going to find on the internet is not looking at what American ammunition is designed to run at. American ammunition is designed to be safe in all guns, as many guns as possible. You're still not going to find any recommendation or any allowance for any of these ammo, any American ammo, to be run in guns that are Damascus or twist barrel steels. And I'm dang sure going to tell you, don't run any of this stuff in shotguns that were made to run black powder proofed only, stuff like that. Don't do that. You're gonna either bring the gun off a face, or you're going to swell the barrel, ripple the barrel, or even banana peel the damn thing. It can happen with these older guns, because the metallurgy is just questionable at best, suspect really. So, but my confusion came in when I was trying to research all this stuff, and the only real source of information was everything coming out of England. And the thing is, it's apples and oranges. They run at 3 different pressure levels for 3 different sets of proof standards. It's just it doesn't apply. And if I would have just taken the time and looked at the SAAMI specs to begin with, and figured out, say, hey, 793 bar for our ammunition in the United States is only 53 bar higher than their maximum pressure for their standard, which is their lowest proof. Any nitro-proofed, shotgun is going to be a standard nitro-proofed. I put steel in there, this is what it's going to be labeled on the box of ammunition when you go to England and buy their stuff. It's going to say standard steel nitro-proofed or standard steel. But anyway, our pressure is only 750-ish. Let's see what it is, actually. So you go 53 times 14.7, 779 bar. Or, yeah, 779 bar. No. 779 PSI. Jiminy Christmas, I'm using the wrong dang 779 PSI. Let me be clear about that. This is PSI, not bar. So we use 53 bar, 14.5 multiple to 779 PSI. Yeah, I'm smart. Sorry. Anyway, so we're only 779 PSI higher than the British standard for their lowest grade ammunition. So all the ammunition in the United States is the lowest grade ammunition that's used in England. So that should tell you something. Our ammunition is really freaking safe. And it's really regulated and held to that spec. Now your hand loads and stuff like that, well, publish data, go out and chronograph the stuff, and you're going to have to take a guess on pressures, because unless you've got a pressure system to measure that stuff, which a lot of people don't, you're not going to be able to do that. So, but anyway, that was the confusion, as I was trying to use British data to figure out if my gun was able to shoot steel shot in the United States. And the thing is, we can't even get British ammo in, or British spec ammo, CIP spec ammo for shotguns in the United States, because it doesn't meet SAAMI spec for shotguns in particular. Rifle ammunition, I know we got CIP rifle ammunition all day long, but CIP and SAAMI for rifle spec is really close, and it's a lot tighter. But this stuff with the various proof houses using various proof standards for this stuff, we have 1 PSI that we've got to meet. That's it. That was the relief that I needed. So I can use number 5 or smaller shot, a 3-inch shell, a 2 3/4-inch shell, in 20 or 25. Oh, Jesus criminy! In 20 or 12 gauge. In either one of my shotguns, both of them are modified choke or less, and actually my my Savage is like a Skeet 1 and a Skeet 2, which is right in between a modified and an improved cylinder, and in between an improved cylinder and a cylinder. So it's kind of like, it's basically an 1/8 and 3/8 choke instead of 1/4 and 1/2. But there's really no definitive answer to this question out there. So if you want to shoot steel shot and go hunt with your dad's or your grandpa's or even yours old gun that was made prior to having steel proof or steel rated and removable chokes, that's all you got to do. Is the gun safe and in good working condition? Was it made to shoot smokeless powder? And is it a modified choke or bigger? That's it. Modified, improved cylinder, or cylinder. It's got to be more open. That's it. That's all you got to do. And go get yourself some shotgun shells, 1,500 feet per second, or slower, 1 ounce, 1.25 ounces, whatever number number 6 shot would be what I recommend, and go have a blast and use that old shotgun, and you don't have to go and buy a new freaking gun, which was what I was trying to avoid. So, you know, I'm going to put this up on my Google Drive, and I'll put links to these documents in the description. And this is all available, so you guys can do what you want with the information. And I put notes down here for my reloading stuff. This is what I need. This is what comes up most commonly with the loads that I'm going to build for my guns, because I don't feel like paying $13 to $14 a box for shotgun shells when I can make them for about $5 a box. So if primers would get any cheaper, I'd be able to do it for less, but we all know the story to that one. But yeah, that's your CMP or CIP Florida list right there, and that's your high performance steel. And they say with high performance steel, which we don't even have in this country, no more than quarter choke. We don't even have that. Standard performance steel, no more than half choke. This is British recommendation. So anyway, I'm just being redundant. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and I wanted to just clear up some bullshit when it comes to all this steel shot stuff and old guns. You know, this is what I found. I'm gonna use my Browning Auto 5 Belgian Magnum. I'm gonna use that one to go bird hunting. Got a new shotgun on order for my daughter, cheapie, 20 gauge semi-auto from what is it, TR Imports. It's a Silver Eagle SE 17 20 gauge. Getting that one just because, one, it's a $350 shotgun. If my daughter doesn't appreciate the recoil, it's not a huge amount of money out of pocket, and I can probably get my money back out of it. And then, you know, if she does appreciate it and does start getting better, then I'll buy her a proper over and under. Get her like a CZ Drake or a CZ Redhead or something like that in a 12 gauge, and then she can start shooting that thing, and then me and her can go hunt and go shoot skeet and stuff like that. This is just going to add more opportunities for us to go shoot in between long range matches, and just give her something else to do, a different thing to keep her and keep myself from getting burned out and bored. Not really bored, but just burned out with the long range stuff, because man, this competition with long range is just bloody intense. But anyway, appreciate it, and we'll hope this video isn't too bloody long. It's probably freaking 30 minutes by now. It looks like it's, yeah, maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Take care.